Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 7 at Santa Anita on Future Stars Friday in the 2019 Breeders Cup World Thoroughbred Championships. It's the Grade 1 $2 million Breeders Cup Juvenile Fillies, kicking off a pick 4. Play with that DRF Bets account. Sign up at drf.com/bet, deposit $150 and start firing away with 300 bones. Bet the Breeders Cup with DRF Bets at drf.com/bet. Let's meet some of the best 2-year-old fillies in the land contesting the Breeders Cup Juvenile. Of course, we're going a mile and a 16th. We've got the impressive debut winner, the one Donna Veloce, 3-1 on the morning line. That's the favorite. 3 horses at 7-2. It's that competitive a race at the top tier. Let's take a look at the Timeform US Pace Projector. A lot of these horses have won on the lead. The 7 Wicked Whisper, yet to be headed from 2 lifetime starts. She's out there on the lead. I think Pratt's got to send the one, though. Get the lead, make Wicked Whisper pass a horse.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a really good post position for Donna Veloce, drawn to the inside, going 2 turns for the first time, and she does have speed. I think you're right. I think they're going, and then we'll see what Wicked Whisper decides to do, because she's going to be forward, Dan. Does she go and attack, or does she try and track?
Listen, we usually don't see high buyer debut runners make their second lifetime start, stretching out 2 furlongs and jumping out of that maiden race into the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. But the way Donna Veloce won this maiden race, and just look at her, she was no surprise at the wagering. She was 3-5. She went right to the front, and she just destroys this field. The race comes back fast. A 91 buyer speed figure. That's faster than anything this field has ever run. Now, obviously, it's going to be a tougher task from a company standpoint, from a distance standpoint, from a pace standpoint, but this horse looks like she's the goods.
Yeah, she does. She romped in that race. And as you mentioned, she got a figure for it as well without even working hard at all. They're asking a lot of her. They're going to step her right up, stretch her right out. She did, again. I think she drew really well on the inside. I think Pratt will just go. And then we'll just see what happens. She has plenty of pedigree to handle this stretch out, Dan. Uncle Mo, this is the Cash Run, shared interest family. These horses wanted to go at least a mile. Cash Run, of course, was a Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies winner. So she's bred to get this far, and she looks like she has plenty of talent.
It'll be interesting to see what the instructions are from Mark Casse regarding his 2 runners, the 260, the 3 Perfect Alibi, because 260 went gate to wire last time out down at Gulfstream in her first start around 2 turns. We're going to swing into the stretch, and she's been in control throughout, and she's just too much for this field. She looks like a big, leggy, mature filly. She earned an 80 buyer speed figure in this race. Her stablemate, the more highly acclaimed Perfect Alibi, has more of a mid-pack running style. Maybe 260 is going to be out there at least to soften things up, if not try to make the lead outright.
That's a good point. I didn't consider that initially, but maybe you're right. Maybe that's why she is in here. She ran well last time. She got absolutely loose on the lead in that race, but she had that field. They were all in drives behind her with 3 furlongs still to go. She won very easily. This is going to be way tougher for her, and she might be a pace casualty in here as well. But she earned an 80 buyer last time. It just doesn't leave her, with so much to find on this field.
3 Perfect Alibi. When she first showed up at Churchill Downs, she just was a great physical for a 2-year-old. Very mature, very big, very strong looking. And she needed that when she won the Grade 2 Adirondack, because I know Frank Soroket had trouble in that race, but Perfect Alibi was in behind horses in the upper stretch. It took her a while to split horses, and then she fought that horse all the way down to the wire. And then in the spinaway, she was kind of in behind horses, got bounced around, and she still beat that talented horse. Now, last time out in the Alcibiades, she got beat by British Idiom, who she's going to have to face again in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. Was it a combination of 2 turns, or do you think some of these other horses are starting to catch up to her from a physical standpoint?
Well, that's probably part of it. I mean, the real issue with her, at least right now, is, despite being a multiple graded stakes winner, she's just not that fast, Dan. She has not run a fast race yet. They stretched her out for the first time last time. I didn't think she ran poorly, but she ran another buyer in the low 70s, and it's just not going to get it done in this race.
If this pace heats up early, and Timeform US believes it can, it could set things up for the 4 British Idiom, who was a very sharp debut winner in one of those maiden auction races at Saratoga, but Brad Cox stepped her right up into the Alcibiades from first-time Lasix, first-time two-turn. She's already made the lead, but she made this big, wide brush to the top, and she just took no prisoners in the stretch. We see Perfect Alibi chasing in vain. This is a very professional, likable effort, and unlike some of the other top contenders in this race, she is proven around two turns. She's a strong contender.
Yeah, she really is. She absolutely dominated the Alcibiades and everything. I like the fact that once she got her position early in the race, she just came to hand really nicely for Castellano, settled, came with a big run around the turn, and just dusted that field. Really impressive, huge contender in here.
Lazy Daisy, the number 5, she's a graded stakes winner around two turns. She won the Pocahontas at Churchill Downs up close to a mile pace that day, but got the job done. I think she's the kind of filly that's going to kind of fall under the radar in here. There are some bigger names, bigger buyer speed figures. This horse has some solid connections. She's a graded stakes winner. She was also 40-1 against Bast in the Del Mar Debutante. Something tells me she's a different filly now.
Yeah, she might be. Her Del Mar Debutante, she was never a factor in that race. I realized that she came back, won a graded stakes race around two turns, and improved her figure. It's just not a race that I love. We'll see what happens with her. She got a really good trip up on the pace with His Glory, who ran second in there. His Glory was 40-something to 1. They just sort of went 1-2 around the track. Nobody did any closing in that race. I just think it's going to be a lot different in here.
The number 6 is Bast, and she showed that she had quality when beaten in her career debut at Del Mar. Didn't break very well, rushed up to track the pace 5 wide near the back of the pack, 4 wide all the way around through the turn. Little bit green, ran second behind the favorite that day. Baffert put blinkers on, and as we've seen in the past, when he does that with his 2-year-olds, they move up by leaps and bounds. Bast did so with a nice trip in the Del Mar Debutante, turning the tables on Inspiressa. They stretched her out to 2 turns in the Chandelier, and this race, the complexion of this race changed right at the start when the speed tossed the jockey. So there's no pace. Bast is on the outside, battling it out with Comical, who's also in here. Bast has to work very hard. A lot of folks, I think, were disappointed with this effort. I think this is a nice tightener for the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's worth also noting this race makes her a 2-time Grade 1 winner on the way in. And you're right, the race just totally changed. She had to go probably earlier than she wanted to, and she just got involved in a long drive all through the stretch, but she did get it done. Listen, I in a lot of ways, I don't know if it's that easy to decide who the horse to beat is, but I'll just say it's her. I think she is the horse to beat in this race, and she's going to get the right trip in here as well.
The number 7, Wicked Whisper, as I mentioned in the open, never headed from 2 lifetime starts, just showed the field her heels in her debut at Saratoga, showing brilliant early speed, going right to the front, and this being ridden out by Ricardo Santana Jr. Joel Rosario picked up the mount in the Frisette. She had to stretch out from 6 to a 1-turn mile. Similar situation. She went to the front, she's down on the lead, and just watch Joel. It's just hands and heels all the way to the wire, and that's Frank's Roquette, who gave Perfect Alibi all she could handle at Saratoga, coming at her on the outside. Joel is not panicking at all. Wicked Whisper still, I think, has plenty left at the wire, and you look at her pedigree, I don't really see why she can't stretch out to at least a mile and a 16th. She's got that pedigree in her. She's a very dangerous contender if she can rate. I think that's really the question in this race. Can she rate successfully off of the speed of the rail horse?
She's got plenty of pedigree to handle this added distance in the 2 turns. I don't worry about that. And she has really easy speed. So it's not like they send her from the gate. She's just naturally fast. We'll see if she can sit a little, because she might have to do that. The one thing that I will say that bothers me a little bit about her is in both of her races, it's not like she's a rocket from the gate. She doesn't break fast. She just has really easy speed. She can't get left in this race. I doubt that she will. Listen, I'm not against this horse either. I think she's a main contender in here.
And he talked about her pedigree. She's a half to point of honor who won the Black-Eyed Susan earlier this year. The 8's KP Dreamin', and maybe if the pace falls apart, she can get some of this at a price. She was 3rd in the Chandelier last time out. There was no pace for her to run at that day. You could argue that track at Santa Anita was speed-friendly, and she kept on keeping on in the stretch, only beaten 3 1/4 lengths. She's by Union Rags out of a point-given mare. Maybe she's sort of the upset special if this pace falls apart.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of race where it's hard to land on a long shot because the lower priced horses all look so good. but she is an interesting long shot in this race. She wants to go all day long, and if they go fast in front of her, she will be running at the end.
I think if Comical was going to win a race like this, it was going to be last time. The speed didn't break. She went to the front. She's inside. Bast's all out on the outside. And listen, she gave Bast all she could handle. I don't want to knock this horse at all, but the pace situation, just completely different this time around. Outside post, she's going to have to work out a little bit of a trip. It was a nice performance last time out. I got to see it again.
Yeah, I can't argue with anything that you said. It felt like last time was a great opportunity for her, and she just came up short. This is going to be a lot harder.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Grade 1. $2 million Breeders Cup Juvenile Fillies. Same 4 numbers for us. I've just been so impressed with Wicked Whisper. Again, she hasn't been really hit with the whip at all. She hasn't really been asked for her best. I'm curious to see what happens when they do ask her for one. When they ask her the question, will she come unglued or will she rise to the challenge? I'm going 7, 1, 4, and 6. I really liked everything I saw from your top selections debut.
Yeah, I did too. Listen, they're asking a lot of her. Maybe it'll be too much too soon as she takes on, so she takes on 3 really good fillies, at least in this race. It won't be easy for her, but I liked it a lot, and I liked the post that she drew. And I'll use her, and I put her on top mostly, Dan, because, I like Bast, and I think Bast is the horse to beat, but I don't think she's, some sort of stick out in this race. I think it's going to be a lot tougher.
Really competitive edition of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. It kicks off a pick 4 on Breeders' Cup Friday. Bet it with a DRF Bets account. You won't be sorry, because when you deposit $150, you get to bet with $300. Bet the Breeders' Cup with DRF Bets at drf.com/bet. Approximate post time for the Juvenile Fillies, 2:32 Pacific. Good luck.